Kobe Bryant, at the end of the day, Dan, because you think I'm a punk, will go down as the greatest basketball player that has ever lived.
It's starting to happen again, Mark. The conversation, the debate on is he as good as Michael Jordan? It's been blasphemy to say it, really, about anybody, but it's an actual discussion you can have now.
Kobe Bryant is there. He's as good as Michael Jordan on any given day.
Remember last week that I said that Kobe Bryant was one of the 10 greatest NBA players ever? I want to change that.
To what?
He's one of the 5 greatest ever.
The fact is, if you're forcing me to choose between Kobe and Duncan, I would take Kobe by a hair.
Kobe is more skilled than any player that's ever played that I've seen.
I don't think that's.
I think Kobe's more skilled than
That's not a
anybody.
bad. That ain't far off.
You rolling with that?
He's up there.
Oh,
I'm not even sure he's on the top 5 of the all-time greatest Lakers.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
Kobe Bryant, without a shadow of a doubt, is one of the most skilled and decorated players the game of basketball has ever seen. And yet, if you ask anyone where they rank Kobe amongst the greatest players of all time, you'll likely hear vastly different results, ranging anywhere from the top 3 to maybe even out of the top 10 in general. And I've noticed that as the years go by, the more the consensus of where Kobe ranks has become less and less clear, and many would attribute this to Kobe's tragic passing in 2020 affecting where people rank him all time. And while that was true for a short moment, I've noticed that as the years go on, people are starting to say that Kobe was not in the top 3 conversations of all time, not in the top 5 conversations of all time, and now people are starting to say that Kobe was never even ranked in the top 10 at all, and these are just things that were never the case. And while I could just make this video a 10-minute compilation of analysts and reporters and former NBA players putting Kobe in the top 3 or 5 players of all time before he died, like, what's the fun in that? So instead, I'm addressing all the false narratives made about Kobe and his career and how they've been taken extremely out of context as the years go by. So hopefully by the end of this, you can come to the same conclusion that I have after diving into Kobe Bryant's career, that he is quite comfortably a top 5 player of all time, and debatably, at least in my opinion, a top 3 player of all time. So the first and most popular narrative used by Kobe haters to diminish his career is that Kobe Bryant was carried by Shaquille O'Neal for his first 3 championships. And I don't even know where to start with this take, because this is by far one of the worst takes you can possibly have as a basketball or even a sports fan, because the logic that they use isn't applicable for any other player, and that's the fact that Shaq won all 3 finals MVPs in their stint together. But yet you'll never hear those same people say that Michael Jordan carried Scottie Pippen, or that LeBron carried Dwayne Wade or Kyrie Irving. Any other great duo in history where one player was clearly superior, you'll never say that they carried the other, because that player couldn't win alone, just as how Shaq couldn't win without Kobe. And the argument gets even worse once you actually look into the stats and the accolades, and you'll see that Kobe was one of the best players in the league during that time. During the Lakers' three-peat championship run from 2000 to 2002, Kobe amassed 3 All-NBA selections, 3 All-Defensive selections, finished top 5 in Defensive Player of the Year twice, and finished top 5 in MVP in 2002. How could you possibly say that an All-NBA, All-Defensive, top 5 in MVP finishing player was carried during championship runs? These years, he averaged 25.5 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 47% from the field, and was doing all this between the ages of 21 and 23. Just off the top of my head, the only players I could think of that received this many accolades and was this good, this quick, is LeBron James and Tim Duncan. And while Shaq did outplay Kobe during all of their finals, what people will often ignore or maybe even forget is that Kobe saved Shaq's butt many times on the route to the finals in the Western Conference, where the Lakers matched up against dominant big men. Just look at their stats. In the Western Conference part of the playoffs in 2001 and 2002, while Shaq definitely held his own, Kobe was putting up phenomenal stats, definitely not the stats of someone that has been carried. And it shows such a clear bias against Kobe when people say this. He led the team in assists and steals and was second on the team in points during all 3 championship runs in the regular season and in the playoffs. Then he went on to prove that he can win even without Shaq by making 3 straight finals and winning 2 of them in 2009 and 2010 while going through a bloodbath of a playoffs. So to make Kobe's three-peat somehow a negative to his career, even though no other team has done it since the Lakers and barely any teams did it before them, is a level of hating I wish I could replicate. Because literally the only reasoning is because he did it with Shaq, but it'll be those same people that have both Kareem and Magic in their top 5 or 6 all time. So why are their legacies seemingly unaffected by the fact that they played together, but when it comes to Kobe, he can't take credit for 5 rings because 3 of them he didn't win Finals MVP to a prime Shaq. Because I don't know about you, but I'd much rather lose 3 Finals MVPs to a prime Shaq, a top 3 peak of all time, than to lose a Finals MVP to Cedric Maxwell like Larry Bird did, or to lose a Finals MVP to Tony Parker like Tim Duncan did in his prime, or to Kawhi Leonard later on in his career. So all in all, this is just a horrible take that the NBA community for some reason adopted, and it's one that if I hear it come out of your mouth, I immediately know you're a casual. Now, the second most popular take that people use against Kobe is that he was an inefficient shot chucker, which, I won't lie, is not the furthest thing from the truth. Kobe without a doubt took ill-advised shots and wasn't the most efficient basketball player, we all know this. But even though it's valid criticism, it still requires a lot of context because it has been vastly overblown by the NBA community how inefficient Kobe was, because in all honesty, it wasn't that bad. And to understand why I'm saying this, you have to put yourself inside the 2000s, which is often known as the dead ball era, where many teams were playing slow-paced basketball, barely any teams were even averaging 100 points a game, and most guards were extremely inefficient. Just by taking a look at the league average efficiency for shooting guards between 2000 and 2009, you can see that there is a glaring difference in the efficiency compared to other eras. Now, if you look at Kobe's efficiency relative to his competition, his stats don't look that bad, especially if you compare it against other high volume, high scoring shooting guards that he had to play against. And now I understand that none of these guys are all-time greats, or at least not in the top 10 discussion like Kobe is. And once you begin to compare Kobe's efficiency to the other top 10, top 15 guys, he begins to fall beneath the pack, no doubt about it. Kobe's efficiency was his biggest weak point. But I feel like adding the extra context that Kobe had to play through that era where shooting guards and point guards were being extremely inefficient helps shine some light on the fact that Kobe wasn't as bad as other people make it seem. And is definitely not bad enough to the point where he should fall multiple spots in all-time rankings. Because at the end of the day, it never stopped him from winning. When you look at other guys who had lackluster efficiency like Russell Westbrook or James Harden or Carmelo Anthony, you could see by watching the games that their lack of efficiency caused them to lose many playoff series and is why they end up without a championship. While Kobe still came away with 5 championships, 7 finals appearances in 10 years, proving that while his efficiency was mediocre, it wasn't usually a factor in Kobe's winning, which is why I shouldn't hold that much weight when discussing Kobe Bryant's career. And the final narrative that I'll be discussing, and it's frankly a narrative that I shouldn't be because I don't know where this came from, but it's the thought that Kobe was never the clear-cut best player in the NBA. And I was shook when I recently found out that this was a real narrative about Kobe Bryant's career, because you can look anywhere to prove that it's not true. Surveys by general managers, player accounts, players that played against Kobe, players that played in that era, that will all tell you that Kobe was by far the most feared and best player in the NBA during a solid 4-year stretch in the league. Even the players that were competing for Kobe's #1 spot during his peak have said that Kobe was the best player in the NBA during that time.
Who's the best player in the NBA?
Kobe Bryant.
Better than you?
I would have to say right now.
A big Kobe Bryant fan. You know, to me, is still the best player that I've ever played against in my career.
The Sporting News just did a poll of 107 Hall of Fame basketball players, and they picked Kobe Bryant as the top player, the top 50 in the league. Right now, Kobe Bryant was #1 with almost twice as many first place votes as LeBron James, #2.
People will stop you and say, oh, but there wasn't a year where Kobe was just clearly the best player in the NBA. To that I say, that's just not true. If team and playoff success is how you define the best player in the NBA, then look no further than 2008, 9, and 10, where Kobe stringed together 3 dominant playoff runs, where he managed to make it out of the West without a super team or anything even close to that. In 2008, he wiped the floor with the prime Spurs that just came off of a championship run with Tim Duncan, while he outplayed Tim Duncan en route to the NBA Finals. Not to mention that he also won MVP that year too. And then he won back-to-back championships in 2009 and 2010, concluding a 3-year finals run where he played 12 different teams, 11 of them winning over 50 games, and no team in the Western Conference even taking the Lakers to a Game 7. That's what I call playoff dominance. But let's say you don't want to give Kobe the title of best player in the NBA any of those 3 years, even though he came away with 3 finals appearances, 2 championships, and an MVP. Then you probably thought LeBron was the best player during those 3 years, being that he had the best stats in the league during that time. Well then, why would Kobe not be the best player in the NBA in 2006? In 06, Kobe had a historical season, averaging over 35 points a game, something only Michael Jordan and James Harden have been able to do in the last 50 years. And while Jordan and Harden had the luxury of playing in the fast-paced 80s and late 2010s era of basketball, Kobe was forced to play in the slowest era ever. In 2006, the Lakers were the 8th highest scoring team in the NBA, averaging 99.5 points per game. Kobe was responsible for 1/3 of that. His scoring alone that season was enough to put him not only in the discussion for best statistical season that year, but also one of the best statistical seasons of all time. But many of you are probably thinking that scoring isn't the end-all be-all when it comes to being the best player in the NBA. There's so many other areas of the sport that you have to dominate at in order to earn that title. But a fact that I think many people forget is that Kobe wasn't just a scorer. He was also one of the best defenders the game has ever seen. In 2006 and 2007, Kobe won the scoring title while also being all defensive first team back-to-back seasons. The only other player to do that multiple times was Michael Jordan, who granted did it 10 times, but still, no one else has done it multiple times except for those two players. At the end of the day, Kobe was just better than everyone during that time. You can ask the players, you can ask the coaches, you can ask the managers, you can look at the stats, you can look at the team success, you can look at the accolades. It doesn't matter where you look, all points lead to Kobe. And this isn't even meant to be my grand video as to why I think Kobe is top 3 all time. That would require a lot more going into depth of the career of other players that are fighting for that spot, like Kareem and Magic and Bird and for some reason Tim Duncan. But that's a story for another day. This video is more so just to address all these narratives that were made about Kobe and hopefully providing more context to them so you can see why Kobe was seen as a top 5 player before his passing and wasn't in the top 15 or in the bottom part of the top 10 like most people will tell you. So hopefully you guys learned a thing or two from this video, and if you guys do want to see that video about why I have Kobe top 3 all time, make sure to like and subscribe and comment so I know that you guys like this type of content, and I'll be sure to have that out soon. Thank you guys for watching this whole video, and peace.